Hello, this is Margaret Ajibode, the STEM Positive Disruptor, and this is Mia's conversation with Paul Bwalya, a process manager in the mining industry in Zambia, and he's going to give us talk about the industry and about what's going on there, the skill sets we need. The reason why this podcast has been set up is basically we want to educate. We want to demystify what STEM is all about. That's science, technology, engineering, mathematics. We want to change perception of how the public sees us. And also what we want to do is bring the public into our domain. So giving them a better information. So the different roles within the STEM industry and STEM world profession, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, but also show how the diverse roles that have been made. So mine is an example, and Paul he's going to tell us more about it, especially what's going on where the mining industry is concerned in Zambia and beyond that, because he's worked in quite a few places as well. So without further ado, I introduce Paul. So Paul, welcome onto this podcast. We're very grateful that you're here. We thank you that you are willing to come share your wealth of knowledge with us today in order for the public to get a better understanding of what happens within the mining industry with regards to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So thank you. So please tell us more about yourself. Tell us about your profession and what you do. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Margaret, and thank you for having me. Very glad actually to have this opportunity to share my experience in the mining industry, and it's actually a passion for me. I'm Paul Bwalya from Zambia. I studied my degree is in Bachelor of Mineral Science in Metallurgy, and metallurgy is basically process engineering, which encompasses three facets. It includes mineral processing, extractive metallurgy, and materials engineering, which is basically called physical metallurgy. So I studied at the University of Zambia for my first degree. Then I went to Germany to do my advanced professional studies in quality management for a year. And then I've been in this industry for about 21 years, basically in the technical role, and I've been in capital projects. So I've covered quite a diverse value chain in the mining industry, which includes the conceptual work on how we conceptualize a project, we take it into operation, and how we optimize projects, looking at the processes beyond just making money. So that is, in a nutshell, my experience and who I am. I've got experience in base metals, which is copper and cobalt, and I've also got experience in precious metals like gold and strategic metals like antimony. So I come with a good
wealth of
experience.
Knowledge, of course.
Yeah,
and
I'm ready to.
and this is so amazing, because what you've shown is that there's such a diverse role within the mining industry. It's not just one type of profession you can go in or skill set is required. You can actually do a wide range, and you seem to encompass all of that. But you also, I know that you've traveled as well. You currently, although you're in Zambia at the moment, we're actually based in, where are you based?
I'm based in Oman. I'm based in Oman in the Middle East. Okay. And because of this change, if you've noticed now, we are looking at green energy, and a lot of countries have changed their policies. Most of them are moving from oil and gas into the mining industry. So there's been a huge influx of mining professionals into the Middle East, and I'm one of them actually trying to conceptualize some projects there.
Wow, that's quite impressive, because you're saying they're now moving from gas into the mining side of things. So you talk about green energy and everything else. Can you expand on that? Because that's quite interesting, because this is, right now there's a big thing about the climate change, the environment, how the negative side of things, how if we're not careful, our world will disappear because of all the issues with mining. But you're saying that actually there's a demand for your type of skill set, and that's so. Can you please expand on this green energy and what you're trying to do, and what you're doing in Oman as well? Thank you.
Okay, so if you've seen the trend, the way the world is going, there is a commitment actually where science and politics have come together to realize that we've got a problem in the in the world. So I think this is one of the times where you've seen a lot of people have agreed to the fact that if we don't do something about climate change, then we're gonna have a problem. So what is happening in the world of clean energy? There are certain materials which are very, very cardinal in achieving the goal of climate change, and that is coming from mining. So the major focus is on the demand of these materials is quite significant, and in mining we are looking at making sure that we supply these metals and materials to achieve the clean energy objective, but we have to do it in a sustainable way where we are safe and environmentally friendly. So there is a lot happening in the areas of research. There is a lot of happening in adopting cleaner technologies. There is a lot of happening in people supplying equipment on adjustment to make mining equipment more sustainable, mining process unit operations more sustainable. And it's quite a lot. So in summary, that is what I can say.
Do you know, this is so, I thank you so much, because what you've done is enlighten us that it's not, and there's much more to just mining, and that you are producing green energy, but there also is that adverse effect, because the mining on the surface as well as on the ground, there are the pollution that comes in play. They talk about the dregs and which affects our water and the waste from that as well. So how do you combat that? I know you said there's strategies in place now. The government and the industry are now talking, which is so important, because now they realize if we don't do something, then there is going to be a problem. So, based on your experience, can you just maybe enlighten us? What is it? How do you, even though the mining itself is producing green energy, there's also the flip side of that, of what you're producing, how the process mining, how you do it, produce those green energy is impacting our environment at the same time. So what are the things that, from your experience, you are being put to get in place in order to prevent worsening our environment?
Okay, so if you look at mining, actually, it's got three aspects of it. Okay, so you've got the mining part where you go and mine your strategic resource, so to say, which contains your item of value, which you're gonna make money out of it. And there is a lot of things that happen, but the major CO2 producer there, you look at all these big trucks which are hauling material, bringing to the processing plant. Okay, so there's been a huge shift in electrifying those big trucks now instead of using fossil fuel. Yes, so a lot of companies have gone that way. They've cut the carbon footprint significantly. So in those volumes, moving to the processing plant, there's a huge cut. So the problem with the mining industry, we have not done much to educate the community on what initiatives have been happening and how significant these are. And then if you come to the processing plant, it's people like me. There's been a breakthrough in the area of technology where we are trying to sort material before it goes in the process. Okay, like using X-ray, so we can be able to tell the mineralogy of the material, because when we blast, we just go like, casting your net wide. So my interest is the material of value. So we pass it through what we call off sorting, where they pass through X-ray, and the X-ray, because of the atomic density, it's able to pick material of value, and we are able to know that this is not material of value. So we reduce those volumes, so that when we take to the processing plant's design and sizing are getting smaller now, because we are concentrating the material even before we start processing it. So that cuts on our energy requirement, and
Indeed.
it now goes further to reduce the energy sources where people are using maybe coal to generate power. You're burning less. Yes, and then needless to say that we also promoting that we embark on green energy now, like hydroelectric where possible.
Yeah.
So in areas where it's possible, most companies are putting up their own power plants, helping governments to put in capital so that we go green. Okay.
That's
then in the processing plant, that's one of the examples, and there's been a lot of initiatives where there is automation now, where we are able to do simulations, and we can optimize processes and take advantage of that so that we can fix certain deleterious elements like sulfur dioxide. We increase the fixation of that, and we generate sulfuric acid, which we can, by cleaning the environment, we are also making money out of it. And we contribute to the fertilizer. And yes, it's a win-win. So yes, most of the time is if we don't demand that, it's easy for investors to say, look, we are not interested in doing that. So policies are very, very important. The embarkment of this corporate social and governance has really, really helped the world initiatives, and also the funding for projects, because most funders are questioning all these issues to say, in your design, have you considered the community? Have you considered the governance issues? Have you considered the environment? You know, such things. So any new project, we are going beyond what we used to do years back, because now it's very, very strict.
Do you know, I'm so pleased that you've shared this, because I think in a way, in my head, in my mind, and based on what articles you're reading online, they said, oh, there's this big issue, but you're saying we are addressing those issues. We are doing something about it. There is a process that we have to go through, which in a way, this leads on to this question about young people, because again, within the UK, the mining industry is not as strong as maybe in Africa or other parts of the world. But you know, what you have shown is that this will give confidence to other people, or people in the public itself, saying that there are some companies who are thinking ahead and being strategizing about what needs to be done in order to improve our environment, and talk about green energy, you know, policies, and ensuring that the government, people who are investing, and ensuring that everyone, you're not just considering just the money you're making, but also the community is also being involved as well. And I think that, you know, there's so much that just gives me more confidence that there are companies and people like yourself that are doing are part of that solution, and that is so important. So based on that, so if you were to consider bringing young people in, because I don't know, please enlighten me. Do you have many young people coming into the industry, and women? Do you have that many?
It's yes and no.
Okay,
firstly,
that's all right.
Yeah, the trend has actually been like in Zambia. I'll give an example. The mining industry is so pronounced because the Investor of Zambia has got the School of Mines, which has the geology, metallurgy, and mining engineering. So depending on the job market, like in Zambia, if it's saturated, you begin to see that people are shunning these jobs, trying to go into other. But the biggest challenge we have is to see women in this industry. Okay. One, it's because of our culture. Okay. And I've seen it because I've moved around. I've been to Europe, I've been to America, but if I take Zambia and the Middle East, there is a bit of an improvement in Zambia, because now women are being embraced, because the government passed a policy that you need to meet a certain percentage of women in the industry. And you can see women, they are taking up the challenge in the areas of engineering, because mathematics and science was a no-go area for women, and the pass marks were low. But you can see now that the pass marks are even, and women are able to show that they are capable.
Wow.
And I've mentored a couple of women, and
Yes.
they have really, really progressed well in industry.
Indeed.
And I've got friends who are my peers who are doing very well in this industry.
Wow. Okay.
The biggest challenge, like in the Middle East, the woman is a bit is not considered at a level you consider women. So you find a lot of women have done. I did an advert. I wanted some process engineers, and I shortlisted 6 people, and 5 were women, and only 1 man.
Only one
But
took it up.
yeah, so I settled for the guy, but it really struck me because there's a lot of women who have studied, who are capable, but the culture somehow tells them that it won't allow them to be practicing engineers.
Okay, thank you for that. But because I'm going to come back to that. What about young people? Do you have a diverse people or a profession coming into the industry? So young people, I know we have a question about whether young women are concerned because of the culture aspect. You said within Zambia, that's improving because the government has set out a policy that you have to have a percentage. So it's positive discrimination in some ways, if that's what you want to call it, but to ensure that more women are given that opportunity to work within the industry itself. And you're saying that you do have some women in. What about young people? Are they coming into the industry? Are there opportunities within the industry for more young people to come in, or are people now moving away from it because the type of skill sets that are required is now different from maybe when you started working?
Yeah, there is actually an appreciable number of young people coming into the industry. The only drawback is some people would study and then they would divert into other professions instead of practicing, like geology. Geology requires a lot of field work, exploration, and whatever. So you find that they get a first degree, and then they go into finance and these other
that's something new, because I have a sort of, it's a global thing where you do a STEM subject or a professional first degree, and you find that some people don't actually end up working in the profession that goes on the industry, because again, there may be many factors such as maybe money, a better lifestyle. So we don't know the true aspect of why more people are coming into the industry itself. But going back now, you're saying there's still, because of the cultural thing. So what do you think should be done? So I mean, we can talk a lot about it, but I'm serious. You give me more confidence in what's going on within the mining industry, and the fact that you're all moving to the green energy aspect and the reasons being. So you told us about the good, the bad, and the ugly in many ways. But to finalize it, what are the 5 things that can be done, especially when women are concerned, to get them in, and also getting young people? Because if you're saying you can't retain not many young people going into the industry itself, is it because there is no need for their skill set, or is there something that is blocking them? I know you talk about the field work, but then again, in finance, it depends on the company. You may have to travel anyway, so that's no different. It depends on, again, what it is. So what would you give as 5 practical, sustainable solutions that will enable the change, and also to encourage more young people to come in, and women as well? I mean, now you're talking to the government, you're talking to anybody, because this is about bringing out the public into our domain. So based on what you've seen, and please, I don't want you to be so formal, just be as you see, what's in your heart.
Okay, the first thing is I just want to talk about the aspect of leadership, because this borders on governance. In countries, I think it's different in the UK, but I'm talking as a Zambian. Leadership is key. We need to embrace this diversity, because what women bring on board and the young people is so significant, because they are the leaders of tomorrow, and you can see they are demanding now of cleaner technologies and whatever. For us who are coming way back, I mean, we have gotten used to these bad habits, and sometimes we are not looking at the future of these young people. And it's the young people now who are calling to say, look, we need to do things differently and in a sustainable way. We want you guys to give us a better world, you know. So we need to listen, and in our leadership style, let's embrace these ideas of the young people. By doing so, it is going to build on, one, our leadership, and we prepare for tomorrow. And then two, we are going to understand the needs of the young people in this industry. This is an information age. If you can see the way industry has transformed and the way technology has transformed, the way we are monitoring processes, it's no longer the manual issues we used to do. Imagine, I remember when I started as a graduate, for me to measure the throughput into a vessel, I would stop a conveyor, do a belt cut 1 meter, measure the speed of, you know.
Yes, I believe that. Yes. Well, technology has advanced so much now. Yes.
Yes. So these things like automation and whatever, there is a misconception that people think they will take away jobs. No, the young people now are ready to study. They are ready to adopt the new technologies, and they want to go the direction of this new development. So if we shy away from such initiatives, we are chasing away young people, because they want to use their initiative. They want to bring these new ideas into the industry. So the mining industry is not far away from the tech industry. Yes, we provide the material, but we need also to take that technology and make it a part of the mining industry. It's safer. It's good because it's continuous improvement. Okay. And then the other thing is young people need to understand one thing, that we need them on board. This vacuum which has been created, the people who are experienced, they are phasing away. Okay. So we need to bridge this gap, and we need to understand that by looking at sustainability and this issue of clean energy, we need to be very holistic, looking at the water, how we can avoid misusing groundwater, all these ground movement in the mining industry and whatever. These are very interesting aspects of geophysics. We need their brains, we need that energy, because I mean, I'm 47. I'm phasing away slowly.
Yes.
I would want to see. I take time to mentor. I mentor people and see that development going. I see this, that the future is very, very safe. So if we look at all these aspects, I did mention in my introductory part, when you asked me about what we are doing in the mining industry, there is a lot. So in the process aspect, let me just say this quickly. We are also looking at some natural processes like bacterial digestion on some mining materials, instead of us investing on all these technologies where we are using a lot of fossil fuel and whatever. What nature can do, we can do that in hydrometallurgy and still extract our metals. So we need all these aspects to be very much included. So I've mentioned leadership. I've mentioned the initiative of being inclusive for young people. And the other thing is we need to tap into their skill levels. Yes, we see them playing video games. Those are very key in their initiatives and whatever. We need those things in it. And then the other thing is we need to make them understand that the challenge is very real. I was talking to my son, because for them, I built a house in 2 days. The loan was already there. He thought things move so quickly. So there are some things which take time to conceptualize and take through the whole value chain. They need to understand that, so that as we plan 100 years from now, they will be able to embrace that idea, so that tomorrow when they become leaders, they know where these things came from.
Indeed.
Yes.
And you know what? Gosh, so true. And you know what you have said, your points, they're so relevant, not just to Zambia, but across the world. And I think we need to embrace, and we need to know that things are moving, things are evolving all the time. And, you know, I am so grateful to you, Paul, because you know, I didn't know much about what the industry is doing, because sometimes you think about the obvious or what people are saying online and everything else. But what you've done is shone a light on what your company is doing and how they're making positive impact and changing the environment and bringing green energy into play, and the different processes you're going through to enable that, but also highlighting the fact that we do want more women to come in and young people. But for that to happen, there's certain changes that needs to happen. So I can talk to you all day. I don't mind,
Yeah.
but we need to make it concise. So I'm gonna I'm just gonna say thank you so much again. I really appreciate what you said. I really appreciate, you give me more confidence in regards to what is happening in the mining industry, and also about the change. So when young people hear about the green energy because they're concerned about environment, they will see that the opportunities are there, and hopefully the government, the industry would embrace the new change. That look, these young people have got ideas, even women. If the culture there has to be a cultural shift in order for
Yes,
them to
yes.
see that look, women can add value. Why just give them the education and then not let them apply it in a practical way? I mean, you just need to think out of the box and change that. So again, I'm just so grateful, Paul. I'm truly grateful, and I'm saying thank you again for coming on board and just sharing your knowledge with us. See, I'm smiling, so I am grateful.
Yeah.
So thank you again. So again, this is Margaret Ajiwa, the STEM Positive Disruptor, on Mayor's Conversation with Paul Bwalya. I apologize. The process manager in the mining industry is from Zambia, but works in Oman. And also, the reason why we're doing this podcast again is to bring the public into our domain. It's about educating, raising awareness, changing perception, and demystifying what STEM is all about, the different diverse roles within science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And today we covered about the mining industry and what's going on in there. So I just want to say, look, you have to listen to Paul, listen to his words of wisdom and the knowledge he shared in spirit, his passion for his industry, and the changes he sees will make a huge difference and impact our world as well. So again, Paul, thank you very much. I really appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you.
Okay.